Alright, today we're diving into a NordVPN versus Surfshark versus ExpressVPN versus CyberGhost comparison. I'll cover their capabilities, pros and cons, and hopefully help you decide which one is going to be the best fit for you. When it comes to VPNs, privacy is key. After all, your internet traffic is taking a little detour through VPN servers. So, how do you know the VPNs aren't going to see what you're using and potentially use that data against you? First off, your data is going to be encrypted. This way, no one will be able to see what you're doing. However, the main privacy assurance comes from a proper no-logs policy, which all of these best VPN candidates claim that they have. While this alone can't guarantee your privacy, there is also the fact that these VPN picks use RAM-based servers, which by design can't retain data for the long term. Additionally, it's worth noting that all of these VPNs have undergone third-party security audits to confirm their privacy and security claims. While I could say that all these VPN choices are safe, there are still some differences worth noting. For instance, Surfshark is the only VPN in this comparison with its jurisdiction in a Nine Eyes country. Still, given their robust privacy measures, this isn't something I'm worried about. If you want me to name the absolute safest VPN option, then I can't pick CyberGhost or ExpressVPN either. These two are owned by Cape Technologies, which has a rumoured malware spreading past. But it's important to note that both of these VPN providers have taken multiple steps to demonstrate their commitment to safety and security. These measures include undergoing audits, implementing bug bounty programs, and even publishing transparency reports. The only VPN option out of these that I can't nitpick is NordVPN. So, if you're very privacy focused, Nord might be your best bet. But which VPN is the best in terms of value? When it comes to long-term plans, the competition for the most budget-friendly VPN is primarily between NordVPN and Surfshark, with CyberGhost not far behind. Unfortunately, ExpressVPN doesn't quite compare in terms of pricing. It's the most expensive VPN choice out of all of the four. However, if you apply a special discount code, you can get better deals for each VPN. The prices can change pretty often, but I always update the description with the latest deals, so check them out if you need them. Also, don't forget that all of these VPNs have 30-day money-back guarantees, so you can try them out for a while and then decide if you want to keep on using them. However, value doesn't just come from pricing. There are quite a few things that add up to it, one of which is performance. To find out which best VPN candidate is the fastest, I've set up speed tests in 3 different locations. As always, my baseline is around 300 megabytes per second, and generally all VPNs retained around about 90%. Here in the UK, they all showed pretty similar results, with CyberGhost dragging a little behind. In more remote locations, the speed drops were slightly more noticeable with all 4 VPNs, but it didn't impact my browsing experience in the slightest. Just remember that speeds can vary due to numerous factors. Your original speed, server distance, or how crowded the server is. That's why your results may differ from mine, but you should expect to see similar speed retention overall. Performance is crucial, no doubt about it. But what features do these providers bring to the table? To start, it's worth noting that all of these best VPN service options offer robust core security features. Connecting to a server is a breeze, and so is finding a specific location you need. Furthermore, all VPNs cover the fundamental features. Across all applications, there are auto-connect settings along with a variety of connection protocols. Additionally, I put the VPN kill switches to the test, and they promptly cut off my internet whenever my VPN connection stumbled. However, if you look past the core features, you can find a lot of differences as well. For example, CyberGhost leads the pack with the biggest number of servers, and only Surfshark matches their country coverage. Then, who's the strongest in terms of privacy features? Well, here, the strongest player is NordVPN. You can use the double VPN feature for extra privacy protection, or opt for the Onion over VPN specialty server to get the maximum anonymity possible. However, I want to mention that all of these VPNs, with an exception of CyberGhost, have obfuscation capabilities. In simpler terms, they can disguise your VPN traffic and make it look like a regular one. But these aren't exactly everyday kind of features. What if you need your VPN to block ads? Well, then 3 out of 4 VPNs on this list can actually help there. The exception in this case is ExpressVPN. It has a threat manager feature that blocks malicious sites and trackers, but sadly does nothing for ads. Meanwhile, in comparison, if you use Surfshark's Clean Web 2.0, which comes with the browser extension, it will block ads, pop-ups, trackers, and malicious ads, even without an active VPN connection. NordVPN's threat protection is also a similar feature, which detects malicious files as well as you're downloading them. It's almost like an antivirus. Now, CyberGhost VPN also has an ad blocker feature called Content Blocker, although it mainly takes care of ads. It also has additional settings to stop trackers and block malicious sites. If I were to compare all 3 ad blocking tools though, Surfshark and NordVPN were a bit more effective during my testing. Moving on from ad blockers, I mentioned NordVPN's antivirus-like capabilities. However, Surfshark VPN might be a better choice if you're looking to get antivirus software with your VPN, as the Surfshark One package contains an AV test-approved antivirus. The only drawback is that it costs extra, though the discount in the description can shave off a significant amount, making Surfshark much more cost effective. But what if we compare ExpressVPN versus NordVPN in terms of features? Well, while Express is the most expensive option from today's VPN list, it doesn't have a lot of features to show. There are only a couple of unique things that add value. The most useful one to me is their device groups feature that takes the pain out of router setups by allowing you to assign different VPN locations to different device groups. I also appreciate their new password manager addition. It's very new and it's pretty basic, but does the job and doesn't cost extra. That's something CyberGhost VPN could take note of. Their only unique feature, no spy servers, comes with an additional price. I'd say that overall, when it comes to picking a VPN, you have to ask yourself a question. Do you only need basic VPN protection, or do you want something more? By the way, if you're enjoying this best VPN review so far, drop it a like and subscribe to the channel to let me know. Now let's turn our attention to compatibility. All 4 of these best VPNs have apps for Windows, macOS, iPhone and Android. Although there may be some disparities in features, all app versions function smoothly and I haven't encountered any significant issues. Of course, a lot of things are up to preference. For example, in a NordVPN versus ExpressVPN matchup, personally I like NordVPN better. I enjoy using their map interface and the app feels a bit more intuitive to me. Don't get me wrong, the ExpressVPN app is fine. The layout is simple and I haven't had any performance troubles. The only thing that bugs me is their browser extension. That's because it's not a standalone. You need to download and install the main app if you want to use it. In comparison, Surfshark, NordVPN and CyberGhost all have browser extensions that work on their own. Looking at the CyberGhost app though, it could use some polish. I encountered some issues where it wasn't unled if it failed to initiate the connection or if it simply timed out. Also, the fact that the search bar only shows countries and not cities is a bit annoying, but hey, at least the server list displays the cities properly. Last but not least, the Surfshark VPN app is a clear winner in terms of compatibility. The apps are very beginner friendly as there are a lot of explanations for each feature and setting. But its strongest point is having absolutely no device limits. Meanwhile, ExpressVPN cuts you off at 8 devices, NordVPN at 6 and CyberGhost at 7. Alright, before we sum up this VPN comparison, I must also cover streaming. So for that, I did some streaming tests. When it came to accessing content, all VPN providers did relatively well. ExpressVPN and Surfshark handled this task the best. I only had to do very little troubleshooting. The other 2 VPNs had some trouble with harder to crack libraries, but the only troubleshooting steps that I did were changing the server and clearing the cache. If you're specifically interested in streaming though, I'd recommend choosing between Surfshark and ExpressVPN. Do remember though to check what country you're in because accessing foreign libraries could be illegal or against the terms and conditions of your streaming libraries. If you want a VPN for torrenting though, then I suggest trying NordVPN first. It has P2P specialized servers and during my testing, it showed me the fastest torrenting speeds. The other 3 VPN picks are also good for torrenting, I just found them to be a bit slower. Now, with all the mainstream VPN uses covered, let's sum up this NordVPN versus Surfshark versus ExpressVPN versus CyberGhost best VPN comparison. What is the best VPN in this review? It depends. If you're looking for the fastest and most secure option, then I'd say go for NordVPN. ExpressVPN will be especially great for streaming or if you want a router VPN setup. Surfshark likely has the best price to value ratio considering all of its features and unlimited simultaneous connection. Lastly, I'd say that CyberGhost is a great VPN for beginners due to the fact that it doesn't have a lot of features. And that's all the advice I have for you today. Thank you so much for sticking till the end of this video, and I will see you next time.